behind Dwayne Hall. I'll tell you what, he made up a lot of points last week, JD.
Yeah, he did, big time. Hey, and that down a couple this week. And I'll tell you, Larry Malkin was one of the cars we were looking at last week at Indianapolis. He had his problems, but I'll tell you what, he's here at Darlington here tonight, and I know that he does pretty well here. But the 27 car, Larry Malkin, sitting in the number 5 spot. He's 15 points out of the lead there. And then down in 6th position, no movement this week for him. But I'll tell you what, sitting up there in the top 10 of the points, number 33 car, Jerry Hinkle. 24 points out of the lead.
And in 7th spot, up 3 places, the counselor Joe DePino with 100 points and 28 points behind our leader. 8th spot, back 3 spots with really bad luck last week, JD, running out of gas at Indianapolis on the first dent. He lost 3 spots. He's got 99 points and 29 points behind our leader.
Hey, and sitting there in the 9th position, the 17 car, Lance Walker, 30 points behind the leader, up 4 positions this week, guys, and slipping down a couple of notches here, the 52 car, Don Klein. He's 31 points behind the lead. But Tracy, look a little closer at those points. I'll tell you what, it's, we've seen this before here at RaceSimNation.net. You're looking at just several points in between all these guys. You take a look at Ben Bandel, Lance Walker. Only 1 point separates those guys. One more down. Don Klein, he's 1 point off of Walker. So just 3 points, a couple of points separate those guys. All the way up to Joe DePino. So you look all the way up the list, guy, and I tell you what, it's anybody's race here at Darlington tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, we got one car in that top 10 list that didn't make it to the race so far tonight, and that's Ben Bando. Look for him to fall back through the field. He could be moving a few people up in position. I tell you what, Darlington will really mix up to finish tonight, as this is a very difficult track to get a hold of, JD.
Yeah, it is, and I'll tell you what, there is quite the story about the shape of this track. Was supposed to have been, a regular oval, same size on both ends, but the owner of the property that Harold Brasington was looking at that way back when said, you ain't moving that little minnow pond, that little duck pond that was out there. It's not there anymore. It's been gone for quite a number of years. But I'll tell you what, the shape of that the track is conducive to the pond that used to be there. So they had to circumnavigate it and build the track around it. So hence the kind of an egg-shaped track here. And I'll tell you what, you come down the backstretch down there heading into 3 and 4, big, long, wide, sweeping turn. Into 1 and 2, or 3 and 4, I'm sorry. I got to get my track straight here. Anyway, 3 and 4 are real tight coming around the bend here, heading down the front stretch. Then you head down into turn 1, which is a real wide, long, sweeping turn. You can pretty much carry a lot of speed through that turn. But I'll tell you what, when you come off the corner there, look for that Darlington stripe up there along the wall. But Tracy, looking forward to some hot action here tonight. James Grigate, of course, putting on a pretty good show at Indianapolis last week. Dwayne Hall is here tonight, your points leader. And Tony Bowling, who really performed well at Indianapolis last week, he's got the pole here tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, great should put on a great race tonight, JD. And I think it's about time to throw it down to...
You bet. Cactus Cute, who's standing by at trackside with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting
All right, we are back, and I hear them starting to fire up the motors down here as we get ready to go racing here at Darlington Raceway. And apparently, we're scheduled for 110 laps here tonight, guys. My mistake. So I'll tell you what, that puts us down to 2 pit stops possibly here tonight. Or actually, 1 pit stop down here tonight, Tracy, if the numbers hold true. But starting out on the pole here tonight is going to be that 21 car, Tony Bowling. And then beside him on the outside in that 7 machine, James Grigate.
And starting third tonight, the 22 of Frankie Samanto. And starting fourth, your points leader and track builder, the RSN 55, Dwayne Hall.
Larry Mulligan, he'll be starting on the inside in 5th position here. Outside him is going to be who's going to finish second in that number 3 Goodwrench car. Starting 6th, Hal Beardsley.
And starting in 7th spot, the 33 Mr. Consistency, Jerry Hinkle. Always there around the top 10 somewhere. And starting 8th spot, the 49 of Frank Jockman.
And it looks like Brian Stewart, I believe that's his name, in the 20 machine. He's going to start on the inside in 9th position here tonight. I believe he's a new driver here at Race Sim Nation. Outside him, the 28 car, Howard Pittman.
And starting 11th spot tonight, the 52 of Don Klein. And starting in 12th, the counselor, 34 of Joe DePino.
And bringing up the rear in 13th position tonight is going to be the 17 car, Lance Walker. And I think we're going to take a trip through 3 and 4 here. And the pace car is going to pull off. There he goes, down pit road, 110 laps, Darlington Raceway, the lady in black. And I'll tell you what, Tony Bowling, James Grigate going to lead the gang down into turn 1 here as Tony Bowling picks up the green flag. So I'll tell you what, get set, hang on. And we are green flag racing right now at Darlington Raceway.
Tell you what, JD, we got a good start here. Let's see how this goes, because Darlington is a pretty treacherous track. Usually here on the first lap, heading through corner 1 and 2, you can keep those cars wide open all the way down that backstretch, but you got to get onto the binders heading into 3 and get that car wound up if you want to make it out of there without getting to that outside wall.
You bet. I'll tell you what, I guarantee you that at least half this field here tonight, they'll be wearing the stripe here. But it probably won't come until they're about halfway or so through the run, Tracy, as the rubber starts wearing off these tires. They start pushing here a little bit. As Tony Bowling takes a wide swath through the turn here. I'll tell you what, good exit on that turn. He's making distance on James Grigate.
Yeah, JD, I tell you what, I think we had a little incident back here. I'm taking a look in the back, and Joe DePino's car, 34, has a lot of damage, guys. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. Oh, I just caught it here on the replay. The 28 of Howard Pittman got in the back of the 34, turned him and hit the wall. A lot of damage on the 34, guys.
All right, and no caution. Holy cow, I see the smoke up there ahead. I'm actually riding along with the 27 car of Larry Mulligan, but I think that's is that Joe DePino down there on the apron, guys. He's looks like he's heading into pit road, Tracy.
Yeah, I tell you what, John got that replay up, and I tell you what, lot of damage to that 34 car, guys. As we continue going, no yellow flag out, no debris, and these guys just keep on motoring.
Bet, and I'll tell you what, Frank Jockman giving up a position to Don Klein. Don Klein on the way forward here at Darlington Raceway. But so far, Tony Bowling's got the lead up here. James Grigate closing the distance here a little bit. 4 laps in the books here, 110 on the schedule. So tons of racing here to go yet at Darlington Raceway. So I'll tell you what, 13 drivers, a mile and a third track, and 110 laps, Tracy. And I guarantee you about probably more than half of these guys will be wearing that stripe before the night's over. Yeah,
I tell you what, we might be down to 12 cars. Not too sure how that damage is affecting the 34 car, as there's a lot of smoke down there in pit road, guys. So it looks like them guys will be working on it for a while. Very possible that 34 car might not make back on the track, but I know Joe DePino, he won't give up until they tell him that thing won't move.
You got that right. 34 car, they call him the counselor. Joe DePino already going down, looks like 3 laps, guys, as he gets an extended pit stop. Try to get that 34 machine fixed up, PBR, in back out there on the field. But yeah, DePino down here, his engines. I don't know if that's fire retardant coming out of the fire extinguisher down there, Tracy, on the 34 car, or is that smoke coming out of the oil pan down here? But the DePino, looks like they got finished with it, hammered it out here a little bit, and he's making his way down pit road, and he'll get back there on the track.
I tell you what, JD, I'm not too sure, but it looked like they had maybe an oil line squirting on that motor there, because tell you what, it's steaming a long time as I see smoke up ahead. I'm guessing a car heading into corner 3 here really jumped up on the binders, locked up that probably the left front tire entering the corner, but really put up a lot of smoke.
I heard, Tracy, that there's a lot of mosquitoes at Darlington this time of year, and they put a defogger out in DePino's car.
That kind of looks like it, John. He seems to be fogging the track as he moves around it. I'm sure there's some engine damage going on there, and it'll be not too much longer here where he pretty much parked the car as he did, JD.
Yeah, I did. I seen him pushing it behind the wall there, up on the hauler, and headed for the barn here from Darlington Raceway. So, man, tough luck for that 34 car of Joe DePino. 2 laps into the race, and no caution, but heavy damage with a collision with I believe it was a 28 car, if I'm not mistaken. But tell you what, Frankie Samanto looking pretty sharp out here, guys. He's running in 4th. And behind him, Larry Mullick and Hal Beardsworth in that number 3 car running 6th. But tell you what, move Dwayne Hall up 1 notch. Tony Bowling giving up the lead to James Greegate, and Bowling falling off there a little bit. But Tracy, you and I both have been here at Darlington, and you got to race the track first before you start racing the competition. And that pretty much means hang on to your tires for as long as you can out here, and try to delay the inevitable. A mile on the 3rd track out here, pit stops got to be right on the money, but you got to make them on time too.
As they call this track, it's a cheese grater up there on the tires, JD. And when you go put a solid lap down as Tony Bolin did to get that pole position, sometimes you're putting a little more wear in your tires than the rest of these guys, as all these cars start on their qual tires. Tell you what, that even that, a tenth of a second faster sometimes will affect you out on that track, and you'll start slowing down a little bit sooner than everybody else.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, James Greegate, Tony Bowling turning about the same lap times here, about 27.5s here. But and then throw Dwayne Hall in the mix in there. His last time around, 27.707. So Dwayne Hall a little bit off the pace here. But I got a funny feeling Tony Bowling probably just going to hang out here. And I know this isn't Wednesday night. This is not the team series, but you got all 3 team members, Howells on Post team members, right up there in the front. James Greegate, Dwayne Hall, and Tony Bowling.
Yeah, I tell you what, JD, I'm back here checking out the 20 car of, I believe, like you said, Brian Stewart, doing a great job back here. Just kind of hanging in the back, a little ways off Frank Jockman. Been riding there for a while. Looks like he's got a pretty stable car. Just needs to find a little more speed and probably just how to run this track. But all in all, it looks like he's running pretty good out there.
You bet. And, you heard drivers talk about this track. Of course, like I say, you and I have been out here before, too. Howard Pittman, that 28 machine, gets a piece of the wall already. There's his stripe coming through 1 and 2 here, guys. Howard Pittman almost got out of shape there. But I tell you what, getting his confidence back and back up to speed here. But Howard Pittman taking a big chunk out of the wall. But back to the track here at Darlington, guys. It's important that you race the track here first. I mean, it's very unique in that both ends of the track are very different from one another. So and it's only a mile and a 3rd track, Tracy. So about the time you're done coming through one corner, you got to set up for the next one, and that's a whole different scenario, whole different set of rules when you get down there. So race the track first, get it under control, and hey, wait for the last 10, 15 laps to race it out with the competition.
Yeah, and like I was saying, JD, you've got one end where you pretty much just got to burp the throttle going through 1 and 2, pretty much hold the car wide open all the way down the back stretch.
Oh,
you get the car there, you got a caution.
Sorry to interrupt. 52, Don Klein going around, guys. Well, I just caught that one right out of the corner of my eye. See if I can push my rewind button here and call it up. It looks like he's side by side with the 3 car, John.
Let's see if we can cue this up, see what's happening. He's battling with Hal Beardsworth. We all know how tough that is to pass Hal Beardsworth. Don Klein goes on the outside, wrong place of the track to try and pass. Goes, slides up the track here, guys, and he's going to, no, he's not going to touch the wall at all. But he does loop it around here. Hard licking outside wall, smoke all over the place. Going to pull her back down to the inside wall. Doesn't look like he's going to hit anything else. Everybody makes it through here clear.
Now, here's the deal, guys. He was beside the 3-car, Hal Beardsworth, and we all know what he's famous for. So I wonder if that was an accidental toss of a banana peel out the passenger car window. What do you think?
Okay.
Tell you what, from where he spun, Hal would have to make a forward throw on him as Don Klein looked like he just drove it deep into the corner, and tell you what, that rear end just didn't stick for him. And Hal had a heck of a throwing arm to get it out of the front windshield. And I think Hal has a hard time throwing anything forward. Do you think, JD?
All right, I'll tell you what. Just about everybody's coming down pit road here. That's kind of a given. 17 laps in. First caution of the night here at Darlington Raceway. Why don't we go ahead and we'll step away as these guys get 4 tires and fuel, no doubt, and we'll take our first commercial break. You're watching live, ETV Live. Hey, it's the only choice, Cowboy. The Racing Nation hauls on post Monday Night All-Pro Series, Darlington Raceway. Don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Hard as you can go all the way to the wall, dig, back to speed. Tires look awesome too, bud, and there at the end you were mowing down those guys pretty quick.
Guys bearing down on you 20, hard and fast.
Okay, we're going back. Stand by.
You've been doing an awesome job. We'll get us one tonight.
These cars pulled up. Flag, green flag.
All right, and we are back live. And I'll tell you what, you want to go check the schedule over there at etv-eplay.net. And I'll tell you, a nationwide series coming your way. The guys over at Nuff World, I'll tell you what, 100% races in the ARCA series. You don't want to miss that stuff either, Tracy. But I'll tell you what, back out here at Darlington Raceway, tonight it's the Hall on Post Monday Night All-Pro series here. And I'll tell you, first caution coming out on lap 17 and 52, Don Klein bringing that one out. Must have slipped on a banana peel, but James Greegate, he's going to pick up his first green flag here tonight with Dwayne Hall, Tony Bowling, Larry Mulligan, Frankie Samanto in tow as we get back to green flag racing.
Yeah, I tell you what, JD, it's going to be interesting to see how that 52 of Don Klein's handling now. But tell you what, he did most of the damage to the left side, which doesn't affect your aero as much here on this track. Because I tell you what, you really lean on that right quarter for aero here to get that rear end planted. So maybe he got in there, was able to make his adjustments he normally makes after getting those qualifying tires on, and see how this car runs now, JD.
You bet. I'll tell you what, 21 laps in the books, scheduled for 110 here at Darlington. So plenty of racing left here to go, Cowboy. James Greegate, he knows how to get the job done here. Hell, he knows how to get the job done pretty much any track. But he's got Dwayne Hall breathing down his bumper, Tracy, going into 3 and 4 here. I'll tell you what, that's a delicate maneuver coming through 3 and 4. You got to get off the gas, ride the brakes a little bit, and then hope for a good exit. And I'll tell you what, Dwayne Hall riding that wall coming down. Look out, there's the safety barrier coming at you. as Dwayne Hall and James Greegate duking it out up here. Now our pole sitter, Tony Bowling, still hanging out back here in third. Oh, his Hall takes a big bite out of the wall coming down the front stretch.
Tell you what, adjusting that right front fender definitely will not help that car out, and that'll start making it push. As we've talked to Dwayne Hall before there at Indy, had a very strong, very fast car. We didn't catch it, but he got on the wall, and tell you what, really affected his car, as he didn't get the finish he would have normally got, considering how his car was running earlier in that afternoon. It's going to take at least 5 or 10 laps, JD, if he has any damage to show the effects here.
You bet. But I'll tell you what, he got his stripe the hard way.
Here in Darlington, I don't think you get that stripe any other way, JD.
Well, hard I meant by the impact. I'll tell you what, we were here last night doing some testing, and we broadcasted a race over there with the VSR, the Veteran Sim Racers guys, and I'll tell you what, no one is immune to that stripe, and there were plenty of them last night that took a stripe home or two with them. But and of course, Rick Donathan was in the booth with me last night. He's logged in over there in the chat room. Good evening, Rick Donathan. How you doing tonight? We call him Sheriff Rick, guys. I'll tell you what, law enforcement officer down there in North Carolina. So we'll look out.
You don't want to do no moonshining in North Carolina, do you, JD?
No, sir. No, sir. But I'll tell you what. You know what? That thought just came to me. I bet Rick knows where to get the good stuff.
Yeah, I think he probably confiscates it, JD. Got it in the trunk of his squad car.
Well, you know, JD, there was a show on called Moonshiners, and I think you can find that guy running that Harley and get yourself some apple pie moonshine from him. What do you think?
There you go. Man, I'll tell you what, pretty much smooth sailing out here on the track, cycling through the cars here at Darlington, guys. 26 laps in the book so far, but pretty much smooth sailing. Keeping an eye on this 52 machine back here running in 10th, Don Klein. He brought out the caution on lap 17, took kind of an e-ticket wild ride there for a little bit, but really no harm, no foul. Aerodynamics here, Tracy. Yeah, this is only a mile and a third track, 1.3 miles. And unlike the mile and a half tracks and super speedways where draft is quite a big thing, it doesn't really play that big of effect here. But there is a little bit of draft. It really doesn't catch up to you until the end of the straightaway, though.
Tell you what it affects here is handling, JD. You need that downforce on those fenders because they flare out them front fenders to help push that nose down a little bit better. And when you take some of that flare off them fenders, then you're not getting that downforce. And now you're counting on the mechanical grip of your tires to keep you there. And when you start doing that, those tires start getting hot and start to slide on you even more.
You bet. I got to tell you a funny story real quick here. One of my trips back to North Carolina to see a couple of buddies of mine, I got turned on to some moonshine out there. And, one of my buddy's wives, the day I was coming home, my two friends were going to take me to the airport. She comes with this cardboard box, says, "Here, take this home with you." And I opened it up, and it was a mason jar full of moonshine. And I told her, I don't think they're going to allow that on the plane, sweetheart. That's like taking a gallon of gasoline with you.
JD, I learned on the show is what brandy is, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
That's just basically moonshine. Instead of using corn, they use fruits.
Fruit. There you go. Pretty much. Well, I'll tell you what,
Hal Beardwood did make a move on the 27. Larry Mulligan take over the 5th position, and Larry Mulligan is slowly moving back up to Hal Beardsworth here. And I tell you, our top group pretty much running pretty nice and strong and clean. And it looks like that James Rodriguez is starting to pull a little distance on him. It looks like Frankie Simano is kind of like the snake ready to attack as soon as something happens up there. Just kind of staying within a couple car lengths of the top 3 guys, JD.
Frankie Simonto, we've seen him run before lots of times, especially in that Wednesday night series over there with Dragon Motorsports. I'll tell you what, Frankie Simonto is one that he kind of sneaks up on you, He'll sometimes start in the back, middle of the pack somewhere and kind of lollygag along. You really don't pay any attention to him, and then suddenly, 10, 15 laps to go, he's like right there in the thick of things, So Frankie Simonto probably doing his thing. He's maintaining a top 5 right now in 4th. I'll tell you what, just keeping an eyeball on Tony Bowling out there in front of him, Dwayne Hall, James Greegate. Hal Beardsworth having a pretty decent night tonight too, guys. He's running in 5th.
Yeah, JD, I'm just checking. I'm down the field. We got a lot of smoke up front. Not too sure who's really lighting up them brakes, but man, leaves a heck of a smoke trail. So I'm kind of looking back here. Frank Jockman kind of falling around back behind Jerry Hinkle by about 6 car lengths. Looked like he's just pretty much running around keeping that car clean. Lots of laps to go. Just staying out of trouble, just like Jerry Hinkle usually does. Kind of hangs back there and makes his moves towards the end of the race. Does whatever he can to get up towards the front. So I'll tell you what, everybody look like they're just running their smooth race as we have still lots of racing to go, JD.
You bet. Scheduled for 110 laps here at Darlington. Boy, spit it out, cowboy.
Darlington.
Put that mason jar down, cowboy. Spit it on out there, son. Darlington Raceway. I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and take a commercial break right here, and I can get another sip. You're watching it live, ETV Live. Hey, it's the only choice, cowboy. Darlington Raceway with the Halls on Post Monday Night All-Pro Series. Don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard driving radio. And partnered with Nuff World Simulation Gaming, check out the HD Radio Network's Nuff Radio with Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadionetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude.
MTCO Communications, dude. I'll tell you what, the only place to get your gaming servers, no contract, month to month. Get gaming tonight with Battlefield 2. Hey, Call of Duty. Do it with R-Factor, Arca Sim Racing, dude. I'll tell you what, $49 a month, no better deal anywhere. Remote access, virus filters, remote power cycle, no player limit, no bandwidth, dude. Dedicated servers. Hey, do it tonight. Give them a call, 800-859-6826.
All right, we are back. I'll tell you what, HDRadioNetwork.com. 4 stations over there, guys, and we want to thank HD Radio Network. Hey, they're climbing in bed with ETV Live. They're sponsoring the pre-race entertainment now. The ETV Live band kind of taking a back seat to those boys over there, but I'll tell you what, some hard rock radio over there from HD Radio Network. And then, of course, MTCO. I'll tell you what, there ain't no better game servers than MTCO.com. $49 a month, cowboy. See Jerry Wolf over there. He'll get you hooked up. But Dwayne Hall falling back one. Tony Bowling picking up a position there, Tracy.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think that damage is starting to affect Dwayne a little bit as he's actually sliding back to that 22 of Frankie Simano, too, and it looks like he's gotten real close to the wall a few times other. Tell you what, JD, I went over to that HD radio, listened to that show that you did the interview on. I'll tell you what, that is definitely what would you call it, rated R station.
Well, yeah, it ain't no PG-13, I guarantee you that. But I'll tell you what, you know, if you want to rock your brains out, HD Radio Network, get on over there and take a listen. And big trouble up here in front of Stewart. Looks like it might have been Don Klein smoking the tires up here, getting into 1-2, guys. But no caution is out. I might have to roll that one back and see what that was. But I tell you what, taking another look over here in the chat room, guys, want to say good evening to Mama D. I know who she is. That's the leader of the pack over there, the Dragon Master. And then, of course, David Bass over there in the chat room as well. Good evening to you, David. McArm. Oh, Danny Cabalded. I got it. I get you, son. Good evening to you, Danny. How come you're not out here on the track? But tell you what, 43 laps in the books already, Tracy. 110 laps here at Darlington. And so far, clean and green.
Yeah, tell you what, JD, what are we looking for? The caution cable right around lap 20. We'll be looking at lap 80 for pit stops. We guarantee you we're going to see guys hitting pit road way before then. As like I said, this is like a cheese grater track for them tires. These cars are really truly driving ill. And a matter of fact, JD, if you really listen to it right at the moment, these guys are really backing out of throttle early. Heading through these corners way a lot slower than they were just even 10 laps ago, just trying to get these cars to make the full run.
Yeah, you bet. And I'll tell you what, James Grigay is certainly making it look pretty easy here at Darlington. I don't think he's gotten a piece of the wall yet, but, I cycle back through these cars, Tracy, and I'm watching them as they come down the backstretch here. And I'll tell you what, they come off the turn, that safer barrier kind of gives it up. You get that solid wall, and then you're racing down into 1 and 2 here. And I'll tell you what, that safer barrier kind of sticks out here a little bit, and those guys are getting dangerously close.
Oh, yeah, I tell you what, JD, I've been out here racing, and I've actually stayed out there just a second too long, and I've hit that outside safer barrier, and that'll pretty much ruin your night. As we see somebody from HDRN radios in our chat room. JD, I tell you what, you guys ain't too into that kind of music, but hey, they're playing the music I listen to, so I tell you what, I enjoy it, and tell you what, they do a great job over there.
Well, I tell you what, we got them hooked, and the hook, line, and sinker here. We got HD Radio Network aboard with ETV Live, and I'll tell you what, I'll start working on them. We'll get some country music, country station going over there. We'll get some good music playing over there, me and Jerry Wolf, and
oh, I don't know. If I listen to them guys, I don't think there's too much country in what they play, JD.
I'll tell you what, they do have, they got a couple of stations over there, the Nuff World station over there, and if I can get, I know that's probably, is that Phil? I think that's Phil listening here tonight. If I can get Phil to put the URL up there well, I guess you can go over to hdradionetwork.com. I believe all 4 of them are listed right there on that page, but Nuff World station is a pretty cool station. They've got a lot of mix over there, and then they've got an oldies rock, and Led Zeppelin stuff, Steppenwolf, the good time, the real rock and roll over there, and that's the one that I usually listen to. But I'll tell you what, back out here at Darlington Raceway, your pole sitter Tony Bowling, he's taking second seat to James Grigate, and I'll tell you what, Tony's about 1.2 seconds back of James Grigate. Still lots of racing left to go here. 50 laps in the books. Dwayne Hall, having all kinds of issues here tonight, was climbing up James Grigate's bumper there for a while. Gave it up to Tony Bowling here about 10, 15 laps ago. So Dwayne Hall having issues with the right side of his car and the left side of the wall here at Darlington. And Hal Beardsworth back here in still in 5th position, just riding it out, keeping his car clean, guys. Frankie Smanto's just ahead of him in 4th.
Yeah, I tell you what, JD, you're right. They're pretty much just riding these cars out right at the moment. I said they're just really having a difficult handling, and this is about when we see those cars starting to possibly get a little loose. If your setup's off a little bit, I tell you what, we're getting quite the group here in our chat room, as we've got the driver 88 and also Noab 16 entered the room. Tell you what, chat room filling up.
You bet, and I want to say good evening to Nicole Grigate. And Nicole, why don't you go pop the top off a beer and go over there and hand it to James Grigate. We're getting kind of tired of him out in front here all the time.
Well, JD, I got some tacks here. I'm getting ready to throw down right in front of the James Grigate as he rolls by. Watch this.
hate to go to this level, but maybe she can flash him for a minute.
Tell you what, he's got whiskey already. Pass that boy another bottle. I tell you what. Hey, Jay, I tell you what, Nicole, thanks for joining us here on ETV Live again tonight, and always a pleasure to have you aboard. I don't know where Angela is tonight. She's usually tagging along here, and the old saying goes out here: if she's in the chat room, usually Dwayne has a pretty bad night, but Dwayne's having a pretty bad night all on his own tonight, guys.
I hope she's doing my taxes, JD.
There you go. It is tax time. I'll tell you what, haulsonpost.com. And I don't have the phone number right here in front of me, but if we got the splash screen there, the phone number's on there, haulsonpost.com. Talk to Angela Hall. It's tax time, guys. I'll tell you what, ain't no better person to work on it for you. If you can't stand pushing that pencil and wearing that calculator, let Angela Hall do it for you over there at haulsonpost.com. And I tell you, out here at Darlington, nothing has changed really, guys. Guys are just, everybody's hanging out pretty much in the same position. Joe DePino up on the hauler headed for the barn tonight, along with Don Klein. He finally gave up the ghost. I think he was having all kinds of handling problems here, Tracy. And I tell you what, lap 48 was enough for him. Up on the hauler headed for the barn. That's going to leave 11 poor souls out here at Darlington, and James Greegate, the leader of the pack.
Yeah, I tell you what, JD, when you slap the left side of your car on that wall as he did, it's very possible you could have knocked the toe out on the front end geometry of your car, and you'll be fine for about 5-10 laps on them new tires, but it really falls off fast on you, and I'm sure that's kind of what Don Klein was fighting, so he decided to pull it up, load on the hauler, and headed for the barn. But I tell you what, Lance Walker slowly moving up. He got around that 20 of Brian Stewart to take over that 9 spot. Tell you what, like I said, a lot of these guys, long runs at Darlington isn't a super common thing, but these guys are doing a great job having. I think we're right around 40 laps in these tires, JD.
You bet. Just about last caution, lap 17, and everybody came in on that one. But that's when the Don Klein, the 52 car, kind of went for an e-ticket ride there a little bit. But I tell you what, clean and green so far since then. And I'm looking over in the chat room, and John's saying something about Jerry Wolf listening to Captain Kangaroo. John, is Jerry even old enough to remember Captain Kangaroo?
Oh, I'm sure he's got every episode. I personally sent it to him. He was really looking for it, so I sent it to him.
Oh, you send him Captain Kangaroo, and I send him Mr. Rogers. What's the deal?
I think he's kind of favoring Mr. Rogers. So.
Heard it was a nifty sweater.
Hey, here's one for you. I thought he was more of an engineer Bill type.
Now that might have been before my time.
Yeah, we're going way back now. I'll tell you what, that was back in the black and white days. Oh my God.
I was going to say, JD, I've never been to theater to watch a show like that.
That's back when television sets were about 13 inches in diameter and weighed about 400 pounds.
And you had to wait 20 minutes for the tubes to warm up.
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you what, it's happening. It's all right here at Darlington Raceway. The Hall's on Post Monday night All-Pro Series. Why don't we go ahead and step away? We'll take another commercial break. You're watching a live ETV Live Cowboy. Don't wander off. We'll be right back. All right, we are back live, Darlington Raceway, and I'll tell you what, nothing's changed out here, guys. Greegate Bowling Hall, still your leaders out here. Hall having issues with the wall here about, 25, 30 laps ago. Just hadn't been able to get it back. But tell you what, Frankie Samanto hanging out here in the top 5. Larry Mulliken, he's number 5 out here. As Beardsworth, looks like Beardsworth, I just caught the tail end of that, Tracy.
Yeah, Hal Beard was heading down pit road. Tires wore out. Not gripping nothing. Tell you what, just trying to slow down to get pit road. That car got a little sideways, and he caught that the left front corner of the nose into the wall there, JD.
You bet. And I'm rolling it back here on my replay here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It looks like he just locked him up right here at the commit line, just before the commit line. And tell you what, no grip left on those tires as he makes his way down pit road. So that's going to set him back here a little bit, going a lap down. But I'll tell you what, I'm sure we're probably looking for green flag pit stops, as I'm hearing Tony Bowling has signaled he's on his way in. I believe Dwayne Hall is on his way into the pits as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, everybody's tired of them tires, JD. Tell you what, there's just no grip left in them. They're all screaming at their pit crew chief, get me in here, give me some tires. And the pit crew chiefs are trying to get these guys to stay out there as long as they can because the leader's still out there. But I tell you what, these drivers said, nope, I got to get in. I'm coming in. You guys got to get ready for me. And it's 21 to 55 all down pit road, JD.
James Grigate still hanging out there along with Frankie Samanto, Larry Mulliken, Jerry Hinkle still on the track, Lance Walker, Frank Jockman. Those guys have not pitted yet. So... And looks like Grigate making his way down pit road, giving up the lead to Samanto. Samanto's going to come around, grab a couple of points for a lead lap here, and look for Samanto to pit probably next time by, guys.
Yeah, I tell you what, guys, looks like these guys are pitting right about when fuel and tires should make it to the end for them. As James Grigate get down here, get to pit road. Tell you what, if you would have stayed out there much longer, the amount of time you make up on fresh tires, on old tires, tell you what, James could ended up a second or two behind these guys. He couldn't stay out for another 12 or 15 laps after them guys pit.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, you got to hit the nail on the head here in the pits and get a good stop and get back out there on the track. And I'll tell you, we saw it happen last night. We saw a couple of drivers try to make fuel mileage stops, but couldn't do it. As James Grigate comes back out on the track. Now, he's being shown a lap down, guys, but no big deal as Walker, Samanto, Hinkle, and Stewart are making their way down pit road now. So as things cycle around, that will probably put James Grigate back out on top. But again, back to the race last night, Jerry, we saw a couple of drivers try to play a fuel strategy game. Didn't work out in their favor. They pitted way too late, and I tell you, if you delay your pit stop too terribly long, you got guys out there on fresher tires able to close the distance. Geez, JD, have another drink of that mason jar. But they're able to close the distance at a lot faster rate. So I tell you what, you don't want to hold off that pit stop for too terribly long.
Yeah, I tell you what, even on this small track length at 1.33 miles, tell you what, old lap times on new tires compared to old, I think it's right around 1.5 seconds, almost 2 seconds a lap. So you take that out there, and if you were only ahead of the guy who was behind you by 2 to 3 seconds, tell you what, in 2 laps, you could lose all that time and end up behind him. But James Rigate got back out in front of the 21 of Tony Bowling, and it looks like he's a good 0.5 second to 3/4 seconds ahead of him, JD.
You bet. And Larry Mulliken being scored your leader right now. I don't know that Larry in that 27 machine has come down pit road yet, but this is the risk that I was talking about. If he hadn't made his trip yet, to wait too much longer here on those old tires, James Grigate is just absolutely closing the distance right along with Bowling, Hall, Samanto, everybody else down the list here. And that could set Larry Mulliken back where he didn't want to be. So we're keeping an eye on the 27 machine, Larry Mulliken. We do not believe he has pitted yet, but James Grigate is on his way to the front.
Tell you what, JD can also sit out there and hold out for maybe a caution coming out. But I tell you what, the way these guys been running, it's pretty tough for the caution to come out. And I mean, he's still got kind of a chance for that to happen and stay out front. But I tell you what, like I said, he's lost so much time. I bet she's going to fall back quite a bit as he's down pit road, getting over to his crew chief. They're going to throw 4 tires and fuel on this car, probably make a couple minor adjustments and send them back out, guys.
You bet. Larry Malkin making his way into his pit box, and right side will come up and slap 2 on there, move it around to the left side, lift her up, slap 2 more on, fill it up with gas, and we'll get Larry Malkin out of the pits. That's going to turn the lead back over to the 7 car, James Greegate. And I'll tell you what, put a little plug in here for James Greegate. I'm not quite sure what the schedule is. Maybe we can get Nicole to type it in over there in the chat room. But you want to get up to around Grundy Speedway. What state is that in again, John? Is that Indiana? Illinois? Texas? Where is that?
It's close to me, but I don't remember. I think it's Illinois.
Grundy Speedway, I think it's in Illinois, but I'll tell you what, Grundy Speedway, Illinois, that's it, Illinois. And I'll tell you what, James Greegate, Rookie of the Year up there, first time out in a late model car up there, and he just blew the field away, just like he does here on Monday and Wednesday night. So I'll tell you what, and a heck of a nice guy. You ever want to talk to this cat and find out what this guy's all about, I'll tell you, you'll be quite impressed. But James Greegate running at Grundy Speedway, short tracking up there in Grundy, Illinois. If you want to catch him, I believe it's on Friday nights, if I'm not mistaken, when the season opens up. But some wild-ass racing up there in Grundy. James Greegate, big part of it up there. Tony Bowling managed to keep himself up here in the top 5 pretty much all night, guys. Your pole sitter tonight, Dwayne Hall, having his issues with the wall as he's working his way past the 28 machine of Howard Pittman.
Yeah, I tell you what, JD, we're getting around here, going to hit lap 79, 31 laps to go out here in this race. Tell you what, James Greegate got a 1.2 second lead over the 21 of Tony Bolin. Tell you what, they made quite a bit of time on that 55 of Dwayne Hall. He's 7.5 seconds back. And then the 4th spot, the 22 of Frankie Simano, he's 10.5 seconds. And then the 5 of Hal Beardworth, even with that little bit of damage he got on his left front, he's 15.5 seconds back from our leader.
You bet. I'm trying to keep track of the action over there. You know what? We need to hire a secretary. That's what we should have brought Rick along for tonight. Just put him in charge of. In fact, didn't we already? Isn't he like the vice president of fan relations or something?
Fan communication and relations.
Since he is a rookie, he should be bringing us something to drink about now, because I'm getting awful thirsty.
Yeah, you bet.
JD hasn't been sharing his mason jar, as you can tell by the slurring of his speech.
I think that's an on-air cue for a commercial.
As Dwayne Hall scrapes the wall again, I tell you what, Dwayne, we got to talk to Dwayne, see if he can't paint these walls a different color, because he don't really like it the way it is now.
You bet. Now here's the guy that builds the tracks for RaceSimNation.net over here, and I'll tell you what, he's taking a piece of it home with him tonight. But I'll tell you what, I'm thirsty too now that you mentioned that. Why don't we go ahead and take a commercial break right here? Hey, it's all happening. ETV Live, Cowboy, it's the only choice. We're at Darlington Raceway with RaceSimNation.net, the Halls on Post, Monday night. In fact, let's delay that. Here just a minute. Something up here with the 55 machine. Dwayne Hall, wow, comes to a screech and stop on the apron. Tracy gives it up, puts it on the hauler, heading for the barn. Dwayne Hall giving it up here on lap 82. All right, and I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and take that commercial break. And again, you're watching live, ETV Live. We'll catch up with the Dwayne Hall situation here when we come back. Don't wander off.
Whoa there, cowboy. Ain't no need to get the hammers out and tear it all up. What you need to do is get a hold of David Bass, DB Tech Services. Technology support offered at a price affordable to most churches, not-for-profits, and individual customers. I'll tell you what, David Bass, IT specialist, over 5 years at the corporate level. Hey man, computer maintenance, hardware and software upgrades. I'll tell you what, David Bass DB Tech Services, established specifically to provide lower cost options to churches and non-profit organizations. So put the hammer away, dude. Get a hold of David Bass. DB Tech Services, dbtechservice.com.
Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard driving radio. And partnered with Nuff World Simulation Gaming, check out the HD Radio Network's Nuff Radio with Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadioNetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude.
And we are back live here at Darlington Raceway, guys. And I tell you what, just kind of watching my monitor here, Tracy, and it's like the 17 car Lance Walker taking a big chunk out of the wall here. Well, he's got some pretty horrendous looking damage to the right side of that 17 machine down here as he makes his way down on the apron. Going to make a pit stop here and get that damage fixed up. He's already a lap down, and he's actually the second car lap down, so no help to him as the laps start winding down here at Darlington. I believe it's about 22, 21 laps to go here tonight, guys. So Lance Walker in trouble as he makes his way to his pit box.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a rough way to narrow the back end of your car. Tell you what, I heard something fairly funny to people who are into extreme sports, knowing that Travis Pastrana will be driving in the Nationwide Series. And tell you what, somehow he explains it to his friends. They ask him, why would you want to go out there and basically just turn left all the time? And he says, what, are you crazy? He says, it's a lot more than that. He goes, oh, you got Tony bowling hard in the wall, JD. I think you jinxed him with that safer barrier as he hooks it and drags that car all the way around that corner. But he told him that you don't just turn left, you slide the car basically all the way around that corner left. And I tell you what, it takes him a few times to narrow that rear end out before the hits are a little softer. So when he gets that close, it doesn't hurt.
There you go. I tell you what, things do get wild here at Darlington in the closing laps. I'll tell you, about 20 laps to go here. 90 of them in the books at Darlington Raceway, and just kind of checking a chatter over here in the chat room. And I guess who's that? Driver 88. I'm not quite sure who that is, but apparently, John, he thinks those commercials are about the wildest things he's ever seen. So thanks, man.
Yeah, I stay up a lot of hours, hard slaving hours, Tracy, making them babies.
No. He stays up hours cracking the whip. I can feel it on my ass when I have to do these commercials. That's what he meant.
Bleep. Oh, that was a little late, wasn't it, Tracy?
A little bit off. But you do realize, JD, he understands that you're several hours behind, so he can seem like it's cracking it late to you.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you what, James Grigate just making it totally easy looking out here at Darlington. I'll tell you, he's gonna capture this one here tonight before this thing's over. Tony Bowling about 2.5 seconds in back. Frankie Samanto, I'll tell you what, hands out to this 22 machine out here, hanging out in the top 5 pretty much all night long. And I told you, Frankie Samanto, he just, he's the kind of guy you don't hear nothing from him. He's real quiet on the team speak, on the chatter. And I tell you, you really don't pay any attention to him. He'll sneak right up on you, and here he is running up here in third. But Hal Beardsworth, recovering from that incident down there on pit road where he took a kind of a big chunk out of the left side of his car, he's back out there running in the top 5 and 4th. Larry Mulligan in that 27 machine. Larry Mulligan is another one, just like Frankie Samanto, Tracy. He kind of sneaks up on you, and suddenly he's right there in the middle of it.
Yeah, I tell you what, right at 16 laps to go, JD. Tell you what, I'm just curious of the damage that maybe the 21 has inflicted on his car. But I tell you what, he's got still a good gap between him and Frankie Samanto. 2.4 seconds in front of him. Tell you, it's going to be interesting to see if it slows his car down quite a bit, as he has fallen off of James Greegate by almost half a second a lap. So I don't know if Frankie can catch him. Let's tell you what, blood in the water for Sharks right now if he can get to him.
You bet. I'll tell you, there's about almost 3 seconds separating Greegate and Bowling. And then Samanto's running about 5, almost 6 seconds in back of Tony Bowling at 21 machine in third. And then Beardsworth is about 10 seconds, about 10 seconds right on the money there in back of Samanto. So really not a whole lot of racing going on out here, but hey, don't count them out. This is Darlington, guys. And just because we're 97 laps into this thing and maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds in back of one another, this thing ain't over yet.
And take a look who's in sixth, JD. Mr. Consistency, the 33 Jerry Hinkle. Just keeping that car clean, getting the car running in the sixth spot there.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, hats off to Jerry Hinkle out there in that 33 machine. I'll tell you what, and Jerry Hinkle, I get my paperwork back out here again. Jerry Hinkle sitting there in the top 10 in the overall. He's sitting in sixth place tonight. So I'll tell you what, this is a pretty important points night for him here. Just might bump him on up into fifth place as we've got a couple of drivers. One that's missing. I know with 51 car of Ben Bando not here at Darlington tonight. But I'll tell you what, good points night for a couple of these guys.
Yeah, I tell you what, Jerry Hinkle, I would have to say, it's one of the best diamond racers I've probably raced with. But the guy goes in low, lets that car drift high, and then drops her back down low on exit. And he pretty much does that almost on every track, except for our big plate tracks. And that's into what he does here at Darlington. If you watch his line, he'll let it drift high, curve it right back to the bottom, and pretty much does that in every corner, JD.
You bet. I believe they call that old school driving. And I'll tell you what, Jerry Hinkle, he's been around the horn a few times. He knows how to wheel one of these things around here. He's kind of the Martin of the gang out here. But I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right. Jerry Hinkle, he does a spectacular job out here in a stock car. And once again, I want to thank HDRadioNetwork.com for sponsoring the pre-race entertainment featured here on ETV Live. And I'll tell you what, you can catch a listen to HDRadioNetwork.com. There's 4 stations over there, and I swear, before this thing's over with, we're going to talk them into a 5th one featuring nothing but the good stuff coming out of country music. But
well, he already said they have one, JD. He already said they have one, but it's on idle, and it's on idle for a reason.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll get over there and light a fire or somebody's butt. We'll get that. We'll take it off idle and mash the gas down on that one.
I tell you what, though, JD, Larry Mulligan got around the 3 of Hal Beardsworth, take over that 4th position. As we're getting down here with 8 laps to go in the race, JD.
You bet, and they are winding down here. And I tell you, James Greegate, he took the lead over here about 100 laps ago or so from Tony Bowling. Now Dwayne Hall, he was out there in front too, and the 3 of them kind of duking it out. Now they're team members on Wednesday nights. I have no idea what they are on Monday nights, but I'll tell you what, James Greegate looking for trophy number 2 here in 2 weeks. He won at Indianapolis last week. So James Greegate, he certainly knows how to get it done here. Tony Bowling putting up a terrific fight here at Darlington tonight. Tony qualifying on the pole, so a couple of bonus points for him as he gets almost takes the safer barrier with him coming around the turn, guys.
I tell you what, JD, it looks like they said they're going to find a way to get a specialist in to figure out what's keeping that country music station idle and get it unpinned for you, JD.
You bet. You can just call it JD's country music or whatever, but
tell you what, it looks like we're winding it down. Almost to getting to 5 laps to go. James Greegate solid out there with a 4.7 second lead. Tell you what, Tony Bowling is starting to fall back there to the 22. Frankie Samano, he's 7.5 seconds difference. So we're looking at about 2.8 seconds behind. If anything, maybe even a little less as they start to close the gap a little bit, JD.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to take one last shot at the chat room over here. I want to talk to Noab16, son. If you knew where music started from, you'd not be complaining about country music. That's where it was born and bred, right there, my friend. But I'll tell you what, 4 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway, and the laps are starting to wind down. No real competition out here on the track. I'll tell you what, these guys, a lot of these guys are going to have a pretty decent points night tonight if they just, stay put, stay on the track, collect that checker flag here at the end.
I don't know about you, Tracy, but I always thought it started with Jerry Lee Lewis.
The funny part was country music never started until they came to the United States. You notice that?
All right, I'll tell you what, 3 laps to go here, and we're keeping an eye on James Gregate out here. He just basically has to keep it on all 4 wheels, keep it pointed forward, and it's like he's going to have the win tonight. Tony Bowling, his time is dropping off significantly, Tracy, 4.4 seconds. So it's pretty much over with for Tony Bowling. No chance for him to catch James Gregate now, unless something dreadful happens here in the final laps. But coming around to pick up the white flag lap next time around, one more time around. And I'll tell you what, when he does that, no more cautions will fly. If the caution happens to come out, it'll be game over. And too late now. White flag lap, Tracy. One more time around. James Gregate going to put a trophy on the shelf here in about 30 seconds.
And I tell you what, the 22 back here, Frankie Simano, was hoping it was the amount of laps you said, as he can see Tony Bowen getting ever so closer and closer, trying to run him down, just going to run out of time, JD, and it looks like we're going to get the 7. James Gregate's going to take the win, and Tony Bowen second, with Frankie Simano pulling up a quality third, trying to run down that 21.
You bet. Just couldn't put it together. So I'll tell you what, heck of a race here tonight. James Gregate taking the big one home. Tony Bowling, respectable run here at Darlington, starting out on the pole, Tracy, and Frankie Simonto. I told you, at the get-go, going down through the list, Frankie Simonto, he just kind of sneaks up in there. You don't know he's there, and then suddenly, whoop, here he is. But game over tonight, guys, is James Gregate. We'll watch him as he gets down here on the start-finish line and burns off the rest of the tire on his number 7 machine down here. What we need is what we need to do is put some waltz music. I'm going to put a piece of waltz music together when these guys spin their tires out, John, as they dance around the start-finish line. How's that?
You can make it all you want, but I'm the producer, and I'm not playing that crap on ETV.
Hey, John, I got a better one. How about Give Me Fuel, Give Me Fire?
There you go.
All right, James Gregate, what a night he had here tonight. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and step away. We'll take a commercial break right here and get ready for the Halls on post-race show here at Darlington Raceway. So, hey, don't wander off, cowboy. We'll be right back. All right, we are back live, Darlington Speedway, the Halls on Post Monday Night All Pro Series down here, and thanks again to HD Radio Network providing that entertainment in between here as we move out of the booth and make our way down trackside. And I'm standing down here, Victory Circle, one more time. And James, this is how it started out tonight, my friend. In the fall of 1949, when a crisp breeze toyed with the loose soil of an old cotton field on the west side of rural Darlington, South Carolina, Harold Brasington saw more than just dirt dancing around that patch of land. He saw James Greegate in that number 7 car going round and round and round and round and round and round and round. Here we are tonight in Victory Circle. James Greegate, one more time.
Oh, thanks, JD. No, that's pretty cool overall. The history behind this track is something that's unmatched by any other track. It's a great track. It's a driver's track. With the 2 different corners because of the minnow pond and all that stuff when they were building the track. So, man, I love Darlington. It's like I said, it's a driver's track. You got to be on top of your game the entire race because you screw up just once, you miss just one corner, slap the wall, and your day's basically done. So, we were fortunate. We were one of the only cars, I think, that made it out of here without a Darlington stripe. But, kept all 4 wheels on it, kept everything clean, no fenders dinged or anything like that, and just had to be smooth and bring it home.
But I'll tell you what, that Darlington stripe, it reached out and bid a couple of them. Dwayne Hall having to give it up early, along with Don Klein and, of course, Joe DePino involved in an incident before they're on lap 2. But I'll tell you what a night here in Darlington Raceway, and you're absolutely right, lots of history here. But, Darlington Raceway, you mentioned here just a minute ago, you got to race this track out here first. What's it like going from from one track, say Atlanta, where it's pretty much a competitive thing with the other cars out there on the track. But when you come to Darlington, it's a whole different scenario here.
Well, again, yeah, you just basically have to race the track first. Anytime you're going down to a corner, if you're trying to race with somebody else, that's when it kind of jumps out and bites you. Because if you don't pay attention to where that wall's at, that safer barrier or whatever, it'll grab you. And once it grabs you, you tear up the right side of the car, and then no matter what you do from that, you can still be competitive with the Darlington stripe on the car, but it's just not as easy as if the car is perfectly clean. So, really, tonight we were pretty lucky. We only ran around a couple people every once in a while. We had one incident where lap traffic caused us to slow down a little bit to make sure we didn't get involved, and Tony closed up from about a 1.5 to 2 second gap behind us to about 0.7 of a second, and then the race was starting to get a little bit more pressured from my side of it, and I just had to tell myself to calm down, relax. He still got 0.7 of a second or so to catch up to us, and then if he gets to us, well, then we'll deal with it then. But fortunately, we were able to gap him after that, and once we got back out front from that, just kind of, again, just rode, made sure the right rear tire stayed on it, and brought it home.
You bet, and I'll tell you what, 2 wins in as many weeks. You won back here last week at Indianapolis. And I'll tell you what, congratulations on the win tonight. And, before we leave here, give you an opportunity to give your shout-outs, but give yourself one. Put a plug in for you during the race tonight. Grundy Speedway coming up here pretty soon. And I know Rookie of the Year last year, first time out in a late model. I hear you got a brand-new car, but can you give us a date on when we can expect to see it at number 7 at Grundy?
April 27th is opening night, and then it's every Friday night after that. So without a doubt, anybody that's in the Chicagoland area, please come on by. If not, join up on our Facebook, James Greegate Racing Club fan club. My brother puts up videos all the time to kind of show what's going on, post where we did and everything like that, as well as we have a Twitter account now this year, so you can follow us on that too. So it's a lot of fun to have all the sim community following us and checking in on how we're doing. And JD, like you said, you guys have been one of our biggest supporters. We really appreciate all the plugs and whatnot you go out there and help spread the word about. We had a great year last year, and we're really looking forward to next year with a new car, new engine, basically an entire new package altogether. So we should be a little bit more on a level playing field as far as equipment's concerned, and I can't wait to get going overall on April 27th. But for here, I really do have to thank Angela Hall and Halls on Post at Congan Tax Services. Angela is awesome, by far one of the best sponsors out there. And obviously, tax season is just around the corner. So as you get your W-2s and all your other tax information, send it her way, hallsonpost.com. I got to thank my wife for all of her support. She fed me dinner literally as I was getting ready to go on the track, so had enough energy to make it through the race tonight. So thank you, Nicole. Also got to thank Dwayne Hall and Tony Bowling, my teammates. It's always great running with those guys. They were both running really well tonight. Again, Tony got a little incident with the wall, and I'm not exactly sure what happened with Dwayne, but those guys are both running well. They're great teammates. Absolutely love being a part of the Halls on Post racing team. And everybody at ETV, thank you very much for all you do. And I'll just have to hopefully come back next week and keep improving on how we've been doing. Overall, it's been a great season so far.
Outstanding. I'll tell you what, congratulations again on the win here at Darlington Raceway. I'm going to throw it on down pit road just a little tiny bit. Tracy Robinson standing by with the driver of that 21 machine. Your pole sitter tonight, Tony Bowling.
Yeah, I'm down here at the 21 of Tony Bowling. Tell you what, Tony, you found one of them Darlington stripes out there. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I found one of the Darlington stripes early. I got startled. First time ever smoking coming down the end of the backstretch, and it startled me, and when it did, I got up and scraped the wall a little bit, which didn't hurt me too bad. Got behind, Dwayne and James there after that, and then for the first, part of the race, I could run with James. I could run about the same lap times. I just couldn't make no time on him. And then, as James said, we got that lap cars that got in front of us, which let me close the gap on him a little bit because I was back there falling asleep wondering what the heck I'm going to do to try to gain time on him. And it seemed as soon as I get the opportunity to start doing something, I go into turn 3 and clip that safer barrier, and it just kind of destroyed my car after that. I was lucky to finish second.
I tell you what, you want to thank JD possibly for that, as he was mentioning, watching you guys entering the corner, saying, one of these times somebody's going to catch that safer barrier. And I tell you what, then I was watching, I seen that you caught it the one lap and then pretty much dragged your car down that side there on that last stint. But I tell you what, did a great job to keep that car in second place. The 22, Frankie Smano, starting to run you down. Did you see him coming?
Yeah, I was watching the ticker, and I knew Frankie was coming. I think, maybe 2 or 3 more laps, and he would have probably got me. And the only thing that kept him behind me was because I already had like a 5.5 second lead over him, or, gap between us, so it kind of helped me out in that point, but he was just killing me down the straightaways.
Yeah, Tony, I was noticing, it sounds like you have some music playing there that JD would like. Yeah, okay. Tony, is there anybody you'd like to thank out there?
Definitely like to thank Angela Hall and Halls on Post, Accounting Tax, for sponsoring the ride. Got to thank my teammates, James and Dwayne. Couldn't race for a better team, and you guys up there in the booth for putting on these awesome broadcasts.
All right, guys, that's your second place finish night, and your pole sitter, the 21 of Tony Bolin. And I'm going to throw it over to John. You caught up with our third place finisher tonight.
Yeah, I sure have, Tracy Robinson. I like to call Frankie Samanto Mr. Excitement because you never know what he's going to do. He might stay out on old tires. He might try and save fuel. You just never know what this cat's going to do from Dragon Motorsports. Frankie, great night tonight. And I think you're one of the few drivers tonight. I didn't see a Darlington stripe on that machine of yours.
There's a little bit on the rear quarter panel. Car kicked out slightly and I rubbed the wall. So, yeah, I did earn a stripe.
And it seemed like you had a pretty sturdy run all night. Just didn't have quite enough to catch James Gregate and Tony Bolin. But in them closing laps, you had to feel some momentum as you seen Tony Bolin hit that safer barrier, and you was closing in on him fast, but you just ran out of laps.
Yeah, exactly. I ran out of laps. That first pit stop I did, crew chief adjusted the car a little bit to kind of keep up with the track, and he over-adjusted it slightly. The track did catch up to us toward the end of the run, but it was way late. And then on that second run, I was a rocket. I was chasing down them leaders, just didn't have enough laps.
Well, let's pull it back just a little bit, Frankie. About lap 60, I believe it was, when you stayed out about 3-4 laps longer than the leader did. What was your thinking there? Was you thinking you could put the whole field a lap down as everybody pitted but you and Larry Mulkin, it seemed like?
Yeah, the professor sitting up on the box there basically was doing a strategy saying, stay out, you need the bonus point for leading a lap, you're in a tight battle for the point chase. So I did what was in my ear.
That's what I like about you, Frankie. You always taking a risk to try and gain some momentum, but a spectacular run tonight by that 22 Dragon Motorsports machine. Anybody back home you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, yeah, there's a list. I'd like to thank Rampart Speculation, Family Food Center, Kitcher's Hardware, my Dragon teammates, and the crew that's working in the garage over at East to West. 2 thumbs up.
There you go, race fans. Your third place finisher tonight, that 22 Dragon Motorsports machine of Frankie Samanto. JD, I'm going to throw it way back up there to you in the Mile High booth.
All right, I tell you what, congratulations to all of our competitors here tonight. James Greegate most certainly winning the big one. Tony Bowling with a very respectable run, and, of course, Frankie Samanto. And Tracy, I tell you what, in the fall of 1949, when a crisp, oh, wait a minute, we've already been there and done that, but I tell you what, it looks like everybody's getting out here and going home with that prized Darlington stripe.
Yeah, well, except for that 7 car, James Greegate was able to keep that car off the wall, keep his colors on his, and leave the Darlington stripe left where it was. But I tell you what, a lot of cars behind him got up there, grazed it. One thing you can do when you come to Darlington is guarantee we'll have a stripe on that car before you leave.
You bet. And you know what? I just want to remind everybody out there that it was a Californian. His name was Johnny Mance. He won the first Southern 500 right here in Darlington. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I'll tell you what, good night here at Darlington for everybody. And I'll tell you what, it's always fun to do the races over here at the Nation, racemnation.net. You want to come out here and play with these boys, get in their sandbox, hey, sign up over at racemnation.net. The Nation, as we call it. Tracy, before we get out of here, we usually have a laundry list of people that we like to say thank you.
Yeah, JD, tell you what, we like to thank True Gravity Art Design for designing the RSN website. We also like to thank Halls on Post for sponsoring the Halls on Post Monday Night Pro Series here. And I'll tell you what, and also the ETV Live chat room for the post race show. DB Tech Services sponsoring the Saturday Night Thunder Series, Arca League Manager for managing the points, and also the Sim Factory for building a great game like Arca Sim Racing.
And I'll tell you what, if you have not done it yet, hdradionetwork.com. Hey, they're in bed with ETV Live. They're providing the pre-race entertainment, so check them out. 4 stations to choose from, hdradionetwork.com. Hey, how about the Nation itself? RaceSimNation.net. Jody Johnson, ETV Live journalist for the RSN Weekly Race Headlines. He's also taken on some extra responsibility at the ETV-eplay.net site, our home base. I'll tell you what, ETV Live executive producer Jesse James calls him the legend, and he most certainly is. John the Bad Boy Westling. Trackmaster Dwayne Hall. I'll tell you what, he puts together probably some of the best racetracks out there for this ARCA series. So, thank you to Dwayne Halls for all the work going into the tracks. And, of course, my co-host, Tracy Robinson. And I'll tell you what, always having a good time up here in the booth. Thanks to all the drivers for putting on a fantastic race tonight, Darlington Raceway. And I tell you, you know what? If you haven't seen it yet, get on over to etv-eplay.net. We got tons and tons and tons of racing coming your way live on ETV Live, so check the schedule page out over there. There's just too many for me to list tonight. But that's it from Darlington Raceway. We'll see you next time.